G'day and welcome back to another adventure with Laxin with Letta and Steve. So, with all the coronavirus and lockdowns and all that sort of stuff and work commitments, Letta and I haven't had a chance to get away for a few weeks. So we thought we would start one of our pilot ideas that we've been looking into for a while, and that's cooking segments. Some of our cooking segments will be done from here, and some of our cooking segments will be done whilst we're actually out camping and looking at this big beautiful country we call Australia, one road at a time. So some of the recipes we'll be using will be coming from people that I subscribe to on YouTube, the ones that give me inspirations to keep going. I get some of my cooking recipes from Ranger Nick. Check out his channel. He's got some good camp oven recipes. I get some recipes from Shauno from 4-wheel drive 24/7. Some of the things he does is a little bit, but why not? Camping can be fun. Cooking whilst out in a tent or a caravan can be fun. You don't have to use the oven in your caravan. Cook outside, make it a real experience. So today, for my very first cooking episode, I'm going to cook a basic leg of lamb in a camp oven. And this leg of lamb and other things that we cook in up and coming episodes, Letta and I'll be putting in a cookbook. And then if you want to, when the cookbook's finished, you'll be able to download that cookbook. So you too can follow our recipes. If we cook something and you want the recipe and you can't wait for that, leave a comment down below. Give me your email address. I will send you the recipe for what we cooked on that segment you liked. So without further ado, let's get into Laxin and Letta's very first cooking video. Come along, let's see how we go. So, to cook our leg of lamb today, the gear we'll be using is our Adventure Kings camp oven. Some people call them dilly pots and other things. I just call them all camp ovens. Because I take them there, I put them in a fire, and they act like an oven. So to me, they're a camp oven. So this is the King's 12-inch. I also have the King's carry bag that I carry, and I must declare now, I'm not sponsored by any way, shape or form of King's, but as I said in our very introduction video, my aim is to get out and camp on a budget. Not everybody can afford $1,500 awnings or $2,000 kitchen pots and stuff like that. We're about seeing this big beautiful country with your family on a budget. So, King's carry bag, recommend that for whenever you're using your oven, because when you're finished with your oven, the best thing to do is, I never wash mine with soap. I give it a really good clean with hot water and give it a wipe out with paper towel. Then I put it back on the heat and I let it heat up, and then I rub some oil all the way around it using a paper towel. Vegetable oil, cooking oil, it'll do. And then I let it cool down, and then once it's completely cooled down, I put it back into the box. It adds the flavour. I wash the outside, I don't scrub it, and inside I have my trivet. And I use my trivet, pretty much leave it in there. Just gives me that little extra safety that I'm not going to have anything stick, because, as I said, I'm still learning, the same as we all are. Okay, so we got the pot, we got the bag. I'm going to need this if we're using with beads. And this here is a bead heater. So you put your beads in there And then once you put your beads in there, you put fire lighters underneath it. And once your fire lighters are underneath it, you let it go for about half an hour until all your beads turn white. Once your beads have turned white, that means that these are ready to go onto here to provide the heat and act like an oven. So we'll be using that as well. Really good. Inside that, it has a carry handle, which is very handy, but it also has a cage. So your beads sit on top of that, and then we put the lucifers under here and we can light them from there. Okay. And of course, we need heat beads. And I carry my heat beads in a bag. This heat bag is from Undercover Australia. It's actually one of Ranger Nick's products. And during some of the videos we'll be doing, we'll be using some of Ranger Nick's recipes too. Because like everybody else, you watch what everybody else is doing, and that's how you learn. So I've got the bead bag to carrier. Keeps all my beads nice and safe and no mess. I actually got the Hot Shots beads from Bunnings. They were a good price, only 14 bucks. And I actually get close to 3 hours burning time on these beads, which is awesome. And I also carry in there a pair of barbecue tongs to help carry the beads out from here, put them in the bead burner, and then put them on top of the pot, because it's a bit hard to use a shovel. So that's just some of the things. And the other thing we'll be using, of course, is a fire pit outside. Now, like a lot of other people, they just have fire pits out the back. I went and brought a fire pit because it just makes more sense. I don't have to worry about burning, scorching grass and stuff like that, and I can move it wherever I want depending on the time of the year. Okay, so what are we going to cook today, did I say? Leg of lamb. So the first thing we need to do is, I always try to prepare my leg of lamb first and then make sure it's ready to go. And then I'll go down and we'll light the fire beads, and then we'll come up and finish the leg of lamb, and then we'll take the pot down and we'll put it in the fire and we'll go from there. So let's get started. Let's roast a lamb. So here we are at the fire pit. I picked this fire pit up for $100 at Bunnings, so it enables me to move around. Can use and put wood in it if we want to sit out here of a night time, but I can also do my camp oven cooking in it. So the first thing we've got to do, or the first thing I like to do, is work out how many beads I'm going to put in there. Well, I actually didn't know the answer, but I found out. And I got this from Ranger Nick. If you've got a 12-inch camp oven, like I have, you take 10 beads and you put them on the bottom of your camp oven, and you put 14. So you're using a total of 24 beads. 10 on the bottom, 14 on top. If you had a 10-inch camp oven, you'd need a total of 20 beads. 8 on the bottom of your camp oven, and you would have 12 on the top. So let's get into putting the camp beads in. So with mine, as I've already said, I actually need 24 because I've got a 12-inch. Get the handle out of the way. There's 1, 2, 4, 7, 11, 14, 17, 19, 21, 23, 24. Okay, 24, we get that out of the way. The next thing you do, I just spread them out a bit. Next thing I need is fire starters. These fire starters will help get the beads heating up. So for this one, I've just got this packet, so I'll just move these beads out of the way for a minute. And in the center, I'm just going to pop, I don't know, That'll do. How many I got there? 6 will do. So I put the 6 in a pile like that. Put my heat badge. You'll notice over the back here, there's an opening. But what I do is I use one of these. These are great for lighting any fires anywhere. All I do is just turn it on, light it. Instant flame. Pick this up. Put it over there. It'll smoke for a little while, so don't do this too close. And I let that go for about half an hour now, because that's how long it'll take these to go from black to white. So here we are, getting ready to prepare the lamb. As I said, today I've got a leg of lamb. Out in the backyard in the fire pit, we've got the 24 heat beads. They're heating up. And why I'm doing this, because I know a lot of people say that if you get your camp oven heated up, warmed up, before you start cooking, it gives you better cooking. Well, I find that to be true. But I'm in my kitchen. So what I've got is, well, I've got the heat beads down in the fire pit doing it. I've actually put my camp oven onto my gas stove and I've got it on low, and it will slowly heat it up while I'm preparing this. So when I put my meat in there, it'll actually start cooking while I take it down to the fire pit. So let's get going, shall we? Right, so as I said, I've got a leg of lamb. I've got my knife, got a couple of cloves of garlic, got some garlic salt, got some lamb herb, and I've got some olive oil. So the first thing I do is I've already patted down my leg of lamb and make sure that there's no moisture on it. And then I take my sharp knife and I just score. Okay, I just score it a couple of times across, and I find just by scoring it, it enables me just to allow to rub the garlic and that into it. And I actually think it actually builds a lot more flavour. Okay, so once I've done that, the next thing I do is I get my lamb rub. I'm using the Master Foods one. And I'm just going to pour that in the slits like so. And just pour a little bit over the top. Just for now. Okay, then I just let that sit there for a minute. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to get my cloves of garlic, and I want to just knock the edges off it, peel them back. Sometimes you can cheat and you can actually just get away with using crushed garlic, but you can't beat the real thing, can you? Okay, and we've got another one here. Let's knock the edge off this one. Let's pin the skin back on this one. Like so. I'm a big garlic fan actually. Love my garlic. I don't think I can ever get enough garlic. Just put the rubbish to one side. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them up into small sections. Okay? 3 or 4 sections. That's all. Then I'm going to take my sharp knife and I'm going to pierce the holes again in the leg of lamb, like so. Then I'm going to take my garlic, find a hole and push it right in. The further you get your garlic in, the better it's going to be. I don't think I've got that hole quite deep enough. We'll come back in a minute. So once I've put all them into the holes that I've so nicely cut and stabbed, like that, and we can put one in there, there we go. So then the next thing I do is I get a little bit of oil, right, olive oil I said in this case, and I just pour a little bit over like that, and then I rub it. Don't rub it too much, just rub it, could do with a little bit more oil. That looks better. A little bit of oil, then one more time. a little bit more of this lamb rub. And finally, a piece I love. As I said, can never get enough. Bit of my garlic salt. And I just sprinkle that over the top just like that. And there we are. Okay, so now that's ready to go into the camp oven and ready to go down and start cooking. So let's do it, eh? Okay, so the leg of lamb's ready, the camp oven's ready, and now our 24 heat beads, they're ready, they're white. So let's get cooking. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just move these to the side. I'll just pull them out gently like that, and then I'll pull out about, as I said, the size of my pot. I want to get about 10. So how are we up to? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's enough. Just put that to one side. Get my tongs, flatten them out a little bit to get the heat. Remember, I've got the trivet underneath. Pick up the camp oven, place it on top, then move the loads to the side and just pour the rest on. As simple as that. Spread them out so we get all round heat, like that. Okay, so now theoretically it takes me on an average of about 2 hours to cook a leg of lamb, doing it through the camp oven and doing it this way. So what I like to do is I like to come back in about an hour and just check and make sure everything's going. These heat beads, as I've mentioned before, I use these heat beads, they're from Bunnings, and I get about 3 hours heat out of them, which is more than enough to cook our roast. So let's come back in an hour and see how she's looking. Okay, so here we are. It's been about an hour since we've had it on. It smells great. I can hear it sizzling. I can't wait to have a look. So come in and let's have a look. I'll take the lid off. Got me trusty welding gloves on. Be a bit careful so I don't tip them in. Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Okay, that's going beautifully. And that's just after an hour. See how she's all starting to crunch up? Hey, I wish we had smell-o-vision. You'd love that. All right, well, let's put it back and we'll keep it going. There we are, just another check on our cooking, and as you can see, that's the camp oven there sitting inside the fire that we got from Bunnings. Really impressed the way that fireplace is working. It does good for beads and also timber. So, you know, I thought we got a good bargain, and it suits well with our yard too. So that's just a quick catch up on how our cooking's going, and we'll come back in about another half hour and check it out. Well, here we are again. It's been about 2 hours, 20 minutes for that size leg of lamb I put in. And she's cooked the way I like it. The juices are just starting to run clear. So let's pull it out. And I brought it upstairs to the kitchen, a bit more light. Starting to get a little bit dark outside, but oh, that smell, holy dooly. I think she's worth every bit of it. So I'll just make a bit of room here and we'll see if we can pull her out and get her in. How's that?
That looks good, Steve.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it, Letta? Look at that.
Be good if I ate meat.
Yeah, it'd be good if you did eat meat. So this is all mine.
You got lots of lunches for the
rest of lunches
for the rest of the week.
That brings us to a very good point. Thank you, Letta. So, I'm the only one that eats meat in my family. For those that didn't know, Loretta has chose to be a vegan. So when I cook meals like this, when we go away camping, I cook a meal like this on the first night. And the reason why I do that is because it gives me a baked dinner on the first night, and then Loretta would have baked vegetables, which we would do the same, okay? Then the following day, putting it in one of my fridges, the following day I can cut it up and I've got lamb sandwiches for lunch. The following night, I can actually turn around, which I'll show you in another video, where I can actually slice it off. We can make some batter and I can dip the lamb into batter and then cook it back into this, and I've got lamb fritters. So my point is, you can make one meal and have 4 different varieties. So I'm not going to let this get colder anymore. I'm going to dig in and start making my lamb sandwiches.
And I'll make the gravy for him.
Loretta's going to make the gravy. Okay, so remember, Loretta and I will bring out a cookbook soon with all these ingredients. It'll be downloaded free. It's nothing fancy. It's just got the recipes in it that we'll use. And as I've turned around and said, some of the recipes I use, I'm getting from Ranger Nick. His dough recipe for making dampers is awesome. For making bread. I've got Shauno. I'm going to attempt to do the beer can whistle. Right? So there's a lot that we can do coming up. It's not going to all happen now. It's just periodically going to happen over time. So please stay tuned. If you liked what we've done today, give us a thumbs up. Right? If you haven't already, subscribe. And please leave a comment down below. I want to know. We want to know what you like to cook when you go camping and what you use. We've had comments coming back to us from people not knowing what stove to use or how to use a camp oven or how many beads to use, what recipes that people use. So that's what gave us the inspiration to start doing something like this. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed what we're doing and you get to go out and do it yourself. And we'll catch you somewhere out in this big, beautiful country we call Australia. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.